Well, this is take 2 for Wednesday the 19th of June. It very rarely happens, but because I've got 2 journalists from the Pacific here, I'm feeling very nervous. Esther Pavihi from Niue and Tiana Haxton from the Cook Islands are here on an exchange with Radio New Zealand. They're at Parliament yesterday. What did you think about it, Esther?
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, for having us on your program. From the press gallery yesterday, it was a very interesting observation for us. During question and answering time, it was rather loud, not what we're used to in our parliaments. The questions were the questions were very clear, but during the time when the minister was expected to respond, there was just a whole lot of other robust discussions happening at the same time, so it was quite difficult to hear. Let me just say that that's not how we do our question and answering sessions in Parliament in Niue, but it was definitely an interesting experience yesterday.
Well, I think that, Esther, clearly you've got a good journalism career, but diplomacy might be something that is in your future. What did you think, Tiana?
Well, I guess I was most impressed by the press run, media run. So basically they had all of the people from press, from media, all ready in the lobby, and then all the different parliamentarians were walking through, and they'd just walk up to them and just start asking them questions, and everyone would just swarm around each person. But the parliamentarians themselves handled it quite well. Like, they didn't go, oh, there's so many cameras around. They just stood there and answered as many questions as they could before they had to leave. So I was impressed by that. Well,
a journalist that I know pretty well refers to it as a catch and release scheme. So they grab the politicians on the way through. I'm a bit lucky because my office doesn't have to go through there on the way to the house. So getting on with today, what's happening today, straight into questions. Simon Bridges' standard question to the Prime Minister about standing by her statements, policies and actions. That is also going to be asked by Amy Adams of the Minister of Finance. It's going to be asked of Shane Retty about meningococcal at question 9. Question 10, Chris Bishop to the Minister of Police. Similar question as 12 is Todd Muller to the Minister of Forestry. So repeat question, 2 different ministers. Question number 2 is Marama Davidson to the Minister of Health about nitrate in Canterbury water. Paula Bennett, question 3 to the GCSB about the statements from the Director of GCSB on a couple of nights before the budget and what the Minister did with that information. Willow Jean Prime about to the Minister of Corrections about mental health services in prisons. Paul Goldsmith about funding for the Land Transport Fund and the effect of any shortage on some regions in New Zealand. Michael Woodhouse to the Minister of Health about the wellbeing of cancer patients. Jamie Strange to the Minister of Sport about the Healthy Active Learning initiative, which is part of the wellbeing process. We've got Duncan Webb, question 11 to the Minister of Justice on trends in the family court. After questions, we go on to a bit more of the second reading of the budget, the main budget debate with 10-minute speeches, and then that will be adjourned, and we'll have the committee stages of the Racing Reform Bill, followed by the second and third readings of the Veterans Support Amendment Bill. Slightly unusual approach here because it is a very minor and quite urgent change and something that the entire Parliament agrees on. The second and third readings are going to be held one after the other, the third one after the second, and there's not going to be any committee stages because there's an agreement on the detail. We'll then go on to the third reading of the taxation annual rates for 2019-20 GST offshore supplier registration and remedial matters bill in the name of Stuart Nash. If we finish that before 10 o'clock, we'll start on the privacy bill. So quite a variety of things on today, but no general debate because the budget is still happening. So I just want to say thank you very much for making my program more interesting.
Thank you.
Thank you.